Coming up on the programme this evening. The dark side of the night tube, the residents who claim the noise is ruining their lives.
It's impossible to sleep, and my GP, but also my colleagues and friends have expressed a lot of concern seeing the deterioration of my health.
We'll hear what transport bosses have to say, also tonight.
A man in his 50s has died after a suspected gas explosion at a building site in Highgate. I'm at the scene with all the very latest shortly.
Plus, when art meets science, the new installation throwing light on how clean the Thames is. And why this giant puppet took a turn around Trafalgar Square today. A very good evening to you and welcome to BBC London News with me, Riz Latif. First tonight, the dark side of the night tube. Headaches, tinnitus and sleepless nights. That's what some residents have told City Hall's Environment Committee they've experienced, brought on by the arrival of the 24-hour weekend service last August. Transport bosses have now promised to investigate any complaints. Emma North has more.
A service every 15 minutes at weekends and a promise to transform Londoners' lives. Some say the night tube ruined theirs.
Hold that on the floor.
In Ian Kitson's house above the Jubilee line, we're using an app to get a rough idea of how loud the tube is under what used to be his home.
We've moved out because I'm not prepared. So there you go, that spiked at 51 decibel. That is on the phone app.
Above the Victoria line, Luce can't afford to move out.
I feel exhausted, I faint, I have developed twitches, I can't hear properly, I have, I feel sometimes noise distorted, like one in my ears. I'm sorry, this is the tube. And therefore, I mean, it's very difficult to function in a normal life.
The World Health Organization says at night the sound around us shouldn't measure more than 35 decibels. The Londoners who came to City Hall today told of levels above 50 decibels. So for TfL, how loud is too loud?
Now we've got the World Health Organization limits.
We don't work to a specific noise limit. We
Why
treat
not?
each complaint individually and we will look for an engineering solution to address that complaint. We don't set a limit.
So
on
what
our
threshold
noise.
do you work to?
We don't.
The Underground's rumblings annoy us because they're of such a low frequency, they can travel through our bones.
It's one of these sorts of noises that is quite difficult to mask out by playing the radio or indeed defend against by wearing earplugs. The issue is that it isn't constant either, so we don't really have the ability, or an individual living in this area wouldn't have the ability to adapt to it readily.
And as we get used to listening out for the noise, it makes us more sensitive to sound in general. What's frustrated some Londoners is that their complaints seem to have fallen on deaf ears.
I think TfL must start to respond to people quickly and effectively. They need to identify what the problems are and put in place arrangements to fix those problems and tell people what they're going to do and stick to their promises.
TfL says it's committed to being a good neighbour.
Our team of engineers dedicated to decreasing tube noise carried out a huge programme of preparatory work ahead of the launch of the night tube, replacing and grinding over 500 kilometres of track and introducing new resilient track fastenings and shock-absorbent fixings which help reduce the sound when trains run over them.
Grinding, fastenings and fixing may well one day do the job. But for now there are warnings that the problem of pollution may not just refer to the air that we breathe, but to the sounds that surround us too.